Hello, I'm Lori Pine, the Joy CEO, and I am so glad to be here with you today. We are going to talk about the great vacation debate: to unplug or not to unplug. That is the question of the day. So whether you're going on summer vacation, packing up the car, putting all the beach gear in, or you're heading to the in-laws for Christmas vacation, whatever it is, getting on a plane, going someplace magical and tropical, or some European vacation, a new city to explore, a national park to explore, what is it that you do with your vacation time and doesn't match up to the rest of America? So imagine this. You are at a nostalgic little slice of heaven. You're sitting by a lake. There's a loon crossing by. The pine trees are magnificent. The sun is bright and beautiful. And you are in heaven. The family is there. Kids are playing. The lake is just an invitation to be free and full of joy. But for you, you're over on the side. Your laptop's open. You're practically standing on every toe you have to make sure your internet connection is coming through. Your phone's buzzing and your mind is someplace else. Does this sound familiar? This was me when my husband looked at me and said, "Excuse me, I thought we were on vacation." That's when I realized you can change your location, but if you don't change your mindset, you never actually left work. You might as well still be back at the office, back in the meeting, back with the customer, back in the midst of the fire. And so I used to think bringing my laptop on vacation made me indispensable. It made me valuable. That being needed for my thoughts and input was proof that my company needed me, that I had a place. And I felt really like this was a true badge of honor. But here's what research shows. Only 28% of us actually unplug on vacation. 28%. So what are the other 72% doing? Well, I'll tell you what, it comes at a price. So let's get into the vacation paradox, what we're actually doing. So if this is how we vacation in America, with only 28% being true vacationers, they successfully disconnect, they leave their devices behind, they don't even respond to work messages. This group is more likely to include experienced workers who have learned some lessons the hard way. 43% are unplanned workationers. So they start their vacations with good intentions. They're going to disconnect. They're only going to respond in an emergency, or they're only going to check emails in the very early morning while everybody is still asleep. And then they're going to go spend the rest of their day fully engaged, fully present, fully plugged into their family and those that they're vacationing with. These might be senior managers, younger workers would probably fall into this category. And then the rest of America, they're workationers. Up to 70% of us report working to some degree during vacation, responding to emails, to actively engaging in work tasks. It's as though we are so needed that we cannot leave for a week. And here's some more data. It's actually getting worse. The people who actually disconnect dropped from 47% to 37% over just 3 years. So a 10% drop. So somehow we're training more and more people that it's not okay to disconnect on vacation. And I'm going to tell you why I think that's dangerous in just a minute. So early on in my career, taking my laptop, traveling with it, badge of honor. I thought my constant availability proved my worth. But I learned there is a very big difference between being needed and being present. Big difference. And there was a toll, a price to pay for what my need to be needed took on my family, on my friends, on the people that I had planned vacations with, mapped it out for months, and was supposed to be enjoying. So it kept me disconnected and separate. And that's not what I planned for. That's not what I saved my money for. So it's really hard to be present when your mind is back at work, in a client meeting, in a planning meeting, in a situation that may or may not even need you. Let's talk about what the science actually says. So here's where the research gets really clear, and it's not at all what most of us are doing. The science overwhelmingly supports fully unplugging for the greatest mental, physical, and professional benefits. Science says when we unplug, we are going to significantly see lasting improvements in both physical and mental health. We're going to reduce burnout, fatigue, and stress. We're going to enhance our creativity. We're going to be better at problem solving. And we're going to have higher productivity when we return. We're going to sleep better, and we're going to find some mental clarity. And last but not least, there will be longer lasting benefits, a truly positive effect of a real disconnect. It's as though your whole body needs a reboot. It needs to just shut down for a while so that it can restore its energy. Like you're an iPhone and you're on red, and the only way to get back to green is to plug you in. And the only way to plug you in is for you to unplug from everything that you are leaving behind. So I know that there are some counter arguments. Some people will think that staying slightly connected will reduce their anxiety. You won't have to come back to a backlog of emails and messages. But the research shows that this is actually a misconception. Partial unplugging, responding to emails, or thinking about work actually undercuts the benefits, and it's not as effective as a true break. The science says it. So, the more you disconnect, the greater the benefits for your health, your well-being, your work, and your performance at work. It's really that simple. Why we can't let go. Let's talk about that. The psychology behind bear with me, our addiction to working. So if the science is clear, why do 43% of unplanned workationers start with good intentions but fail? Early in our careers, we do confuse being busy with being important. We think that the laptop, the urgent emails, the emergency phone call is proof that we matter. It's a security blanket disguised as a status symbol. And we are very afraid of being replaced. What if the new guy is there while I'm out on vacation and he answers the questions I should be answering, and now they like him better and they're going to promote him? Oh my gosh. What if we're not indispensable? then what happens to our job security? We don't trust our systems and our teams. We think everything will fall apart without us, and we haven't learned to take care of what it is that we actually need to take care of, be where our feet are. We're also culturally conditioned. When 70% of people are working on vacation, it starts to feel normal, even expected. So say you go away with a group of your friends and everybody says, I'm going to be working in the morning. I'll meet you at 10. Well, wouldn't you just work too? But here's the thing I've learned. This mindset doesn't just hurt us. It hurts our teams, it hurts our families, and our organizations. When we can't disconnect, we're modeling that nobody should disconnect. We are setting a standard that we, without verbalizing, are communicating that we expect others to follow. And the higher you climb in your organization, your leadership is signaled in both verbal and nonverbal cues. So let me tell you a little bit about my evolution. That lake house scenario I was telling you about changed significantly when I went to take my children to Paris. There's two very different scenarios here, and I love to think about this. The lake house, my boys were young. We traveled back to Maine to see my family for the summer. This place was nostalgic and really soothing for me. That everything I love is at the lake house in Maine. The people, the foods, the places, the memories, the activities, being out on the boat, driving the boat, being on the paddleboard, swimming, all my family that stops by to see my boys, especially when they were little. And it should have been perfect. But there I was, over on the picnic table, sliding the picnic table closer to the lake house so I could get the best internet reception. And everybody else is swimming and splashing and laughing in the lake. And I'm connected to some sort of situation that I can't even tell you what that is right now. And my husband said to me, I thought we were on vacation, Lori. And I was sitting in this place that really represented peace for me, but I was totally somewhere else. Now, fast forward to Paris. It's 2018. My boys are teenagers. They're in high school. And I took them to Paris by myself. It was just a mom and son's trip. And I had saved for this. I had worked for this. I had planned for it. I had the whole trip mapped out. We were doing amazing boy things. And I made a decision. I was going to show up fully and wholly, not just for them, but to demonstrate to my team that unplugging was part of our culture by role modeling it for them and for me. So what shifted between those two trips? Well, I became more confident in my leadership. I learned to delegate, to entrust people to step up during my absence. I assigned certain parts of the business to certain people, and they were able to feel the responsibility of what it's like to be a vice president for that week. They sat in on meetings in my absence. They sat in on customer calls in my absence. They responded to any sort of urgent issues that came up in my absence. And guess what happened for them? They puffed up. They felt as though they'd been chosen. They felt the enormous pride in being responsible, in being entrusted to the business in my absence. And so the shift wasn't just about vacation and allowing me to show up and roam the streets of Paris, take a bus trip out to Normandy, be with my boys. But it was also about understanding leadership itself. That early in career, the thought of being needed equals being valuable. Mature leadership taught me that modeling boundaries equals empowering others. And that's exactly what I did. Staying in my hula hoop, enjoying my vacation, being where my feet were with my children, and doing the work I needed to do to make sure that I parsed out the business in a way that everything could be covered for a week. And guess what? I did not get a single phone call while I was in Paris. So, how can you become a true vacationer? Here's some practical strategies. You want to join that 28% of Americans who really are true vacationers. Before you leave, delegate with confidence. Give people real authority, not just tasks. Remember, these are people that you want to see and to acknowledge and to experiment. Can they take your job when you get promoted, when you move to the next role, or if you leave the company? Give them a moment to rise. Set clear expectations about your availability. And here's the spoiler alert. Your availability is 0. Okay. Create systems that don't depend on you being the hub. This is not a hub and spoke environment. We want a fluid environment where you are not a cog in a wheel. So if your current leadership model has you as the cog in the wheel, you might want to rethink how you're leading your business. And then last, before you leave, have the culture conversation with your team about what healthy boundaries look like and why you're unplugging and the benefits of unplugging for your mental, physical, and professional health. Now, during your vacation, you're going to leave your laptop at home. I know some of you are probably sweating right now. Your palms are dewy. You might even be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's saying this. I have to wipe my forehead. But here's the thing. You can leave your laptop at home. Use your phone's do not disturb features. And if you must check in, designate one specific time and stick to it. Though I would really argue against this. As uncomfortable as it may seem, once you try it, I don't think you'll go back. And then remember, every time you check email, you're teaching your team that they should too when they're on vacation. And I don't know that that's really the leader we want to be in this day and age. And then the mindset shift. Your worth is not measured by your availability. A strong leader builds systems that work without them. Take that in. A strong leader builds systems that work without them. Some of my clients are building systems in the companies that they run where if there is a health crisis or something and they had to step away for months at a time, they can. Or if they choose to, like take a sabbatical, they can. Taking real breaks makes you better at your job, not worse. Restoring you, your nervous system, your mind, your body, that's where real creativity and inspiration and flow is going to come from, when you're able to just slow down. And then you're modeling behavior that you want to see in your organization. You are going to be the example. So the leadership question I would ask you is, what message are you sending about work-life balance by your vacation behavior? Are you creating a culture where people can truly disconnect? And in closing, the real badge of honor. Here's what I would want you to remember. The real badge of honor isn't being so important that you can't take a break and you can't step away. It's being so confident in your leadership that you can. It's trusting your team, trusting those who are coming up behind you, those who are so eager to be in your position. You're role modeling for them what it's going to be like when they get the nod and get the title. So be who you want to see in the world. When you truly unplug, you're not just taking better care of yourself, you're building a stronger team, modeling healthy boundaries, and building a culture where everyone can thrive. The research is clear. 28% who fully disconnect get the greatest benefits. But more than that, they're the ones who come back recharged, creative, and ready to lead. So the next time you're planning a vacation, ask yourself, am I going to be a true vacationer, or am I going to join the 72% who thinks they're on vacation but never actually leave work? Your family will thank you, your team will thank you, and most importantly, you will thank yourself. Showing up for yourself is an act of kindness, and it will bring you a joy unlike anything you know. Be the joy you want in the world. Okay, your laptop can wait, the emails can wait, but this moment, this vacation, this trip, these people at this time in your life, the people you love, that can't wait. Enjoy them, every minute of them. Be where your feet are. And I am so glad to be doing this with you. I hope you choose to be a true vacationer. I would love for you to reach out to me, share your stories, send me an email, Lori@loripine.com, and tell me what you thought of this episode, if it was unnerving for you, if I made your palms sweat, or if you're like, no, she's right. I can do this. I'm doing it with you. And as I get ready to head out on vacation, I am unplugging. I'll see you all soon. Take care.